So the reason I chose my 350Z, the reason I chose to buy a 350Z, man, is mostly because of my father, man. Like, your father. Your father's a very, very great man. But nah, for real though, man, my dad's the one, that really got me in the cars, man, because, I've always been in the cars since little. I fuck with the little Hot Wheels and little race cars and shit, you know what I'm saying? But my dad's the one that really was like pushing the JDM shit, on me, like, yo, these shits are fire, like, check them out and stuff. And I was like, damn, that body style is fire. Like, and my dad had a 240 SX. My dad's Colombian, man. He wasn't born here. He was born in Colombia and shit. And he came to New York for a while, and he's been in the States for like 40 years, 50 years, whatever it is. And he had a 240 SX, Nissan 240 SX, and I used to like the little car, man. This shit was dope as fuck, you know what I'm saying? He had a coupe, it was black. At the time, I think he had it was like automatic and shit, you know what I'm saying? And he was gonna switch it to stick shift or whatever, do the conversion. So that's really what got me into like Japanese cars and like 350Zs and shit. And it's funny because at first I didn't like the 350Zs. I really ain't like the 350Zs. I remember me and my dad having this talk, like I was young, I was like 16 or some shit, and he was like, yo, man, like, what car are you thinking about getting and this and that? And I was like, man, I'm probably gonna get a Honda Accord. And he was like, yeah, that's nice. He was like, but look at these shits. And he started showing me the 240 SX, the 97, with the squinted lights, the front, the Koki or whatever the fuck it's called, Cookie, whatever the fuck people call the shit. Yeah, man, so I was like, damn, that shit fire, you know what I'm saying? I always liked the one that my dad had, so I'm like, damn, that shit's fire, you know what I'm saying? And I started looking into them, and I looked at the 350Z, and I was like, nah, like, me and my dad, like, we on the laptop and shit, and I'm like, nah, Pops, this shit looked like a little frog, you know what I'm saying? The shit looked like a little squatted frog, you feel me? So I was just talking shit at the time, but I didn't know nothing, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know nothing about no engines or nothing, like, you know what I'm saying, how they got V6 and they're good for driving. I ain't know shit, I'm over here like, man, fuck that car, that shit look weird as fuck. So yeah, man, we eventually got a 97 240 SX. Let me see, my dad had a black 240 SX coupe, and he sold that one, and he ended up buying a white convertible 240 SX. That shit came automatic. We ended up converting it to stick shift. Bro, best decision ever, bro. I used to love that car, bro. And we just started fucking with that shit. He had that shit driving, but we needed another car because I was like eventually gonna drive and shit. So we bought the 97 240 SX. Shit was fire. It was like a military green, but it was a nice color, bro. Like, I'm not even a fan of green, to be honest with y'all, you know what I'm saying? But it was like a nice desert green. That shit was like desert sage green, some weird shit, bro. Like, I'm not trying to, like, you know what I'm saying, fucking say the wrong word or whatever, but it was like a desert green, whatever. Shit was fire. I'd pull up to gas stations and shit, and people, yo, whose car is that, this and that, like, fire as fuck, you know what I'm saying? That shit was stick shift and all. And so yeah, we decided to buy that one. Boom, we got that shit. My dad ended up selling the 240, the white one that he had convertible, after a while, because it started rusting on the top windshield, started rusting, and it was leaking. It just was a headache, you know what I'm saying? My dad was like, man, fuck this, I don't got the money to be putting into this shit, and then it's a whole mission, and we already got the other one. So we ended up selling that one. Well, he ended up selling that one, and we had the green one, and then fucked around, I ended up crashing the green one. Obviously it wasn't my fault, because I'm legendary like that, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, I was going to pick up one of my friends, and it's funny, somebody was coming out my neighborhood, it was like the front of my neighborhood, the neighborhood across, and he ran the stop sign, and I fucked around and T-boned his ass, and it was his fault, you know what I'm saying? I didn't have time to brake and shit, and I freaking totaled it, and that's how I got the Z. you know, because I was like, damn, man, like I'm still trying to like drift and shit, and it's crazy, bro. Like, dude, like 3 weeks before, we were about to buy a turbo kit for that car and build that shit up, you know what I'm saying? And it just ain't happen, you know what I'm saying? We didn't have the money and shit. You know, I was barely fucking making cheese. I didn't know how to fucking manage it on top of that. But I was working at a little bullshit restaurant. But yeah, I ended up crashing that shit, man, and the insurance paid us out. They paid the car. They gave us a check for that, and then they gave us an extra check on top of me getting hurt. So I had like 6,000. I think they gave me like 6,000, 6,500. And then we went and bought the red Z. We went and checked out a couple Z's, man. At first, bro, like, you know, when I started seeing the Z's, I was like, damn, these shits are fire, you know what I'm saying? And it's funny because we went to go see this one Cuban dude in Miami, man, and he took me on a ride, and he was like, yeah, I got a lot of people that want this shit, you know what I'm saying? A bunch of capping ass shit that he was saying, you know, because they always say that, oh, I got a bunch of people waiting to buy it. Like, bro, if you got a bunch of people, then go sell the shit, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, he took us on a ride, and he fucking drifted the shit, and he was sliding. I was like, yo, this shit's fucking crazy. Like, going from that 4-cylinder 240SX to the 350, I was like, just sitting in the passenger seat, I'm like, damn, how fast is this dude going? Like, he was gassing it. But so we didn't end up buying that one. It was pretty clean. The interior was black and stuff. And we ended up buying the other one, which is the one I have now, is the 03. It's funny, man, because when we pulled up, the paint was so fucked up. You know, I'm not knowing shit. And I'm like, oh, hell no, we ain't buying this shit. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, it's me and my dad, and we like, man, let's see what we gonna get. And I'm like, man, hell no, we not buying this shit. The paint fucked up and this and that. And my dad's like, man, he looked inside, clean, nice little beige interior, fucking spotless, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, man, I think this is the one. And I'm like, what? Nah, I'm like, hell no, you serious? He's like, yeah, man, look at this shit. As long as the motor and transmission is good, we good. And I was like, all right, you know, Pops know best, man. Pops damn near a fucking mechanic. Like, he done grabbed the 240SX engine and fucking took it all apart, took it out the car, took it all apart, put it back, like, cleaned the shit and put it back together. Like, the man's fucking nuts. But, so we ended up buying the shit because I drove it and I was like, damn, this shit is fire. You know what I'm saying? Some Colombian dude sold it to us. Boom. And we drove home with that shit that day, man. That shit was classic. You know what I'm saying? Awesome. We still got this bitch to this day, man. We've had this Z for like fucking 8 years, bro. You know, and I'm going to just start doing stuff to it because, you know, obviously life happens and, you know, I wasn't focused on the car shit. But that's how I got into like 350Zs, and that's how I got into like wanting to, you know, drift and getting into like the car scene a bit. Is because, you know, my dad, man, my dad was always like, yeah, drifting, and he liked cars and shit. I ain't gonna lie, to be honest, in the beginning, I didn't like this shit. I told my dad, I was like, man, listen, I don't like cars like that. Like, you know, because I was doing other shit. I was doing like music and shit, focus on music, which I still do like music, but, you know, I do that more as a hobby right now, you know, because just certain personal reasons. But with the car shit, I would just tell him, like, because we'd work on it and I'd get pissed the fuck off, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, man, fuck this car, bro. You know, like, we over here spending fucking 5 hours trying to figure out how to build this shit. You know what I'm saying? How to fucking do this shit. This shit a waste of time. But, you know, I eventually learned to, like, love the shit. You know, I learned to, like, love it only because, like, not only, I'm not going to say that. I loved it because it's like me and my dad bonding over this shit too, you know, like we talking about cars, he's showing me about cars and this and that, so it's pretty dope, you know. And yeah, that's how, you know, the 350Z came about, man. It's an awesome car, you know, awesome platform. I love the Japanese, like the whole Japanese culture and stuff. This shit's dope to me, you know what I'm saying? I always loved drifting. Like, drifting is, when I seen that Tokyo Drift movie, bro, that shit, you know what I'm saying? That shit just changed my whole life. I was like, oh, man, like, you know, my favorite movie was Too Fast, Too Furious. But once I seen that Tokyo Drift, I was like, man, fuck Too Fast, Too Furious. I love man, listen, man, I'm trying to drift. You heard me? So, bro, this shit was just dope, man. And I'm glad I'm into it, man, because it's a dope-ass hobby, you know what I'm saying? It's expensive as fuck, but, you know, everything's expensive nowadays. But that's pretty much how I got into 350Zs and, you know, the Japanese thing, the JDM culture and stuff, you know, car culture. I So, you know, you guys are gonna see me post a lot of shit with cars and working on the car and all that, because, you know, I fuck with it, man. It's pretty cool. You know, it's a dope ass hobby and stuff. And, you know, most men fuck with cars, you know. You know, if you got a pair of nuts, you know what I'm saying, you fuck with cars. But if you's a female, you know what I'm saying, I'm just playing, bro. Just don't take me serious on that one. But yeah, man, that's how I got into 350Zs. That's why I bought my 350Z. I thought it was a cool ass car. I want to drift. You know, it's got some decent horsepower. It's just, you know, to me now, I love it. It looks great to me, you know what I'm saying? It don't look like a little frog, you know, a frog in squat position no more, you know. It's just dope to me. And you know, I like to share the how do I say it? I like to share the journey with y'all, man, you know, and let y'all know about me a lot, you know what I'm saying? Because, hey, you know, this me, man. This is my channel, this is my content, and that's what it is.